Welcome back to the Shut Up and Work podcast. And we're here live. And I'm here with my wonderful co host, Lady G. And the next topic, we're going to discuss why it's important for Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, American descendants of slaves, whatever you designation that you want, why it's important that we tell our own stories. Now, Lady G, for example, like me, this is the whole reason why I wanted to do this podcast. I wrote a book about my work career because if I just kind of just sat around and just casually a neighbor or just tell somebody on the street that I meet, they probably wouldn't believe a lot of these stories, a lot of these things that I went through. They probably just would think, oh, you had a great work career. You had a successful life. You had these things. And not knowing that the trauma that a lot of us experience. And when I say us, I'm talking about Black people in America, whether it's at home, whether it's on the job, whether you're out trying to play a sport. It's just a lot of us, our experiences, and not just us, me and you, but also our parents, our grandparents, our great grandparents. It's just so much that we have to jump through. There's so many I's we have to dot, so many T's we have to cross off. So I think personally that every Black person in America should either write a book about their life or work career or sports career or whatever, or, start a video blog like we're doing or a podcast or anything. I'm all for that because nobody can tell your story like you can tell your story. And then last thing I want to say is that, in the movie sector, you probably have seen movies, especially around that COVID time, where they have misinterpreted. And when I say they, I'm talking about other people who have produced movies about our legendary heroes of the past. A good example was the Harriet Tubman movie. I thought got totally misrepresented, where there was a Black bounty hunter chasing her down, which we know, if you grew up in the South, you knew one of the laws was no slave, no Black person could have any type of weapon or gun. That was automatic, execution if they caught you with a gun, because they thought you were trying to revolt or run away or something in that nature. Another movie that I saw, or miniseries that I had watched, was the one with Madam C.J. Walker and Annie Malone, where they made the miniseries out where they were enemies. And if you go back and read in history, Annie Malone had no beef for Madam C.J. Walker, took her under her wing, taught her everything she needed to know. And Madam C.J. Walker branched out to the other side of the country. Annie Malone was like in St. Louis, Missouri, Illinois area. Madam C.J. Walker started out, she went over into, I believe it was Denver or somewhere else. They weren't even in the same area competing. But this miniseries made it out to where, they were rivals and they fought and stuff. And again, when I see these things, the first thing I do, I see that movie, I grab this damn phone and I start Googling who's the producer, who's the director. And when I see it, either if the last name is not a name that's American like ours, or it's a person of another race or color that produced it, and I say, there you go, right there. That is why. And there's probably several more. I'm just naming those two movies as an example of why it's important we tell our own story and quit letting other people tell our own story. Oh, the Muhammad Ali, the one that Will Smith did, that's another one, that should have been produced by some black producers. Okay, go ahead. I'm tired of running my mouth.
You're good. So I thought it was interesting the fact that you brought up at first because this is something we started doing last year. When you say tell your own story. So just briefly, there was a website I came across, forgot the name of it, but I sent it to my mom. It was one like a Mother's Day gift we got for her.
Hmm.
And basically, unfortunately, our parents won't be around forever. And I thought it was important for us to hear her story, what things she went through growing up. Um, and put them all in one book. Like they would send her questions each week, and she would answer them, and goes into this vault. And then we're gonna eventually put it all together where it's a book for us, like her legacy and stuff she went through. Because things were different back then, I'm sure, and even things in the military she went through racial wise. We found out recently, like wow, that has a play on your PTSD and anxiety and things like that. So
Hmm.
I'm glad that we were able to get that started, and even for my dad, getting y'all's legacy and things that y'all went through, telling your story because it's important to hear it from the horse's mouth. And with those movies and things, you make an interesting point too because I know there are so many movies they came out with, trying to document or um, tell the story of public figures or legends, people like Martin Luther King. I know Emmett Till. I'm not sure if it was produced by. I didn't do the research on that, whether it's produced by or directed by someone of color or not. But that was an interest. I think I've seen that maybe twice, only because I watched it with my parents. But it's
Hmm.
something I can't watch that movie over and over because of the things that happened
Right.
in the movie. But I think they did a great job overall with telling the story. It seemed like a lot of things that were in the movie were actually, happened. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing made up for entertainment purpose. I mean, I'm sure there was something fabrication, but a lot of the things it was like it seemed like it was based off what actually happened. And unfortunately, some of the movies I feel like are based. They add stuff in there, like Madam C.J. Walker. I think it was the. I don't know if she had a relationship with the young lady or somewhere in the movie. I can't think of it.
Annie Malone.
Yeah, maybe that was her. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think some things were added for entertainment purposes rather
Hmm.
than focusing on the facts. And a lot of people, even the audience, maybe they figured that hey, people like a little dirt or a little entertainment in there to make it more interesting, to make it to where it sells more and people go to see it,
Hmm.
and make more money off of it. But I feel like some of the movies are based off entertainment. Malcolm X, the old one. Um,
Uh-huh.
I love that one as well. I'm sure there's probably some things in there that's not totally true, but they put it together, I think, very well with Spike Lee in it as well.
Hmm.
What I'm trying to think of another movie, but a lot of the movies they come up with too. What's the movie that Chadwick Boseman did? Think about Thurgood Marshall.
Oh, yes, yes. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
And I haven't seen that one yet.
yeah, I seen bits and pieces, but it seemed to be
Yeah.
good. Again, I don't know who the director was or if it was written, but sometimes it is very good for us to tell our own stories. That way, later on down the line, our children's children and children's children can look back and like, oh wow, this is what happened, or they can look at the movie and know that it was actually a piece of history. It was actually something that actually happened, not something that was made up. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, and so to that, like you said, with the entertainment thing aspect, see, here's the problem. I think sometimes when you let other people, uh, tell your story, they're gonna make it safe for their uh, pleasure or their viewing audience. If you know what I mean, they're gonna soften. Let's take Harriet Tubman for example. That was a hard life, to be a slave, then to decide one day, hey, I'm gonna escape. You don't know nobody, you don't, and run away all the way to the north. We talking about this lady went 1,000 miles. She went damn into Canada,
Mm.
is where the Underground Railroad would end. And coming from a plantation, that's like in Georgia or Alabama or somewhere, that's like far, and not knowing where you're going, not having no compass, not having no food, trying to hide, knowing people hunting you. So anyway, the point I'm getting to with that is that when somebody else decides, well, let's take this part out. Let's make it like, hey, we wasn't so bad. Like, hey, we had this white person. She had a 3-course meal every day. Well, that takes away the struggle. That takes away, to me, that takes away the things of what made that person important.
Right.
So it's almost like having a lion or a tiger, but you clip his nails, you pull his fangs out and stuff like that. It's like, okay, the lion is still big, but you don't fear it as much because you didn't took the teeth out. So you're not worried about him biting you. He could still knock you down, but he can't scratch you or claw you or bite you to death. So, you probably like, hey, I can still go outside. I know it's a big ass lion out there, but he don't scare me as if he had his weapons, as if he had his tools. Another thing, I don't want y'all to go eek or nothing like that, but like grass snake, I found one in my backyard. Didn't scare me as much as a rattlesnake or something like that would, because the rattlesnake, it's got fangs, it's got venom, and it's not scared of you. It's gonna use its tools on you. So therefore, you make a conscious effort, like, hey, I ain't gonna stick my hand in there. Now, grass snake will bite, and maybe it might hurt a little bit, it might break a little bud, but it's not poisonous. So you're willing to take that on. Not everybody, but I'm willing to take him on and run him off and like, hey, get your ass out of my shed or whatever, or pick it up and throw it, because it doesn't have that same contacts as if that. Now, if the tail was rattling and that some bitch raised his head up looking at me like, hey, what you want to do? Go stick your hand out here and your arm gonna look like a balloon in 5 minutes. But anyway, that's just what I'm saying.
Thanks for watching. And also, if you are having trouble or are currently working in a toxic workplace, then look no further than my book. It's available on Amazon, called Shut Up and Work, Surviving Then Escaping the Workplace. Other than that, have a great day. Take care. Peace.